All right. Kind of doing double duty as the restreamer and the gamer. So just getting set up now. All right. Got my controller, got the game, and everything should be good to go from here. So this is Unlimited SaGa. A much maligned game for good reasons, especially in the West. Basically, you can't play this game without the strategy guide. The strategy guide didn't come out here. Japanese only. So it was kind of like playing Dungeons and Dragons without the player's handbook. And the Dungeon Master hates you. But if you are willing to read through GameFAQs guides that were basically made by translating Japanese resources and by experimenting with the game, you can kind of learn how to play the game and come to love it. But that wasn't really an option when it first came out, so people rightfully just dropped this game, thinking it would be like SaGa Frontier. They bought it, and then, whoops, it's completely its own thing. But we're not here today to say this game sucks. In fact, this game is amazing if you're willing to spend many, many hours learning it. And this intro is pretty long, so we're just gonna skip. We're gonna get right into it. And we're going to be running Laura scenario. There's 7 characters, similar to a lot of SaGa games. Each character has its own story and quest and all that, and some of them have very unique mechanics. Laura's pretty standard. And all of the scenarios end up fighting the same final boss, so a lot of the run comes down to prepping for that final boss, and the uniqueness of each scenario is kind of how difficult that final boss ends up being, the Chaos Ruler. So without further ado, we're going to get started with Laura. So one slightly unique thing to the Laura run is there's a slight amount of RNG manip. I kind of don't like RNG manip for Unlimited SaGa because the game's all about being random.
The funeral
kind of what the fun is. But this RNG manip is very helpful.
But it was a funeral.
It gets you a specific item that will make some of the early quests a lot faster. That said, we could fail it anyways, and then that just makes the run more fun.
The cracked lenses gave little clue.
Depending on if you want the run to be consistent or fun, for either the manip to succeed or fail. I will be rooting for it to succeed because it's pretty good. But it's not the end of the world if it doesn't. So we start as Laura. She's just kind of hanging out. Her husband died at sea or something, and then some random kid runs into her. So she beats up the bandits chasing the kid. This combat is kind of auto battle, but it is technically combat, so you can learn abilities on your weapons during that fight. And it turns out this mysterious child is a prince of Escada, a kingdom that was destroyed by monsters.
Well, what do you think?
We disguise him so that the bandits won't find him. Also, his earlier clothes and haircut sucked. And now he looks cool. So after this cutscene, we're going to be dumped into the town menu, and we're going to do some shopping. First, we're going to equip a bunch of stuff. Equipment's mostly just weighing you down, because the more stuff you have on, the heavier you are, so the slower you move. So you usually just want to remove everything but the necessities. And we're buying everything here just to increase our market rank mostly. There's some stuff we actually do want from this store, but some stuff we're buying just to buy, because your market rank increases with the more stuff you purchase. And your market rank determines how good items are the various shops throughout the game. And we want to increase the rank as soon as possible because we want the second shop that we get to have certain items that we're attempting to manip, which is where the whole RNG manip thing comes into play. So it happens pretty early in the run, just at the end of this scenario. So learn pretty quickly if we failed it or not. So we're going to use this ability called Aura. It lets us reduce the aggro rate of enemies. There's a lot going on, so it's going to take a while for me to fully explain everything that you're seeing on screen if you've never seen this game before, so just sit tight. Relina, if I say a random name, that means one of my 4 cats is harassing me. So this is the combat screen. You can have up to 7 party members, and you can queue up to 4 attacks every turn, or 5 attacks every turn. And the people who attack are placed on the field, and everyone that doesn't attack jumps off of the field. And only people on the field can be targeted by attacks by the enemy. So keep that in mind. We're going to get to the first forced encounter here. A lot of the early forced encounters have several enemies. Right now we don't have any crowd control attacks or AoE attacks, so we're going to have to target each one individually so that we can stab them all. So for every attack you enter, you can then choose to enter them as a combo or as an individual attack. I'm comboing all these attacks, but when you attempt a combo, an enemy can bust into your combo, which is what's happening here, whereas I try to combo quick thrust, and they combo hammer into it. What comboing does in this game is it increases combo rate percentage, which helps with HP and LP damage, which we'll get to. But for now, all you need to know is HP acts as a shield for your LP, and LP is what typically you would consider to be HP in a more standard game. It determines whether you live or die. So the goal when you're in battle is to reduce the enemy's LP to 0, and if your character's LP reaches 0, then they are knocked out for the scenario. Or the adventure, rather. The adventure being the individual quest you're on right now. And unlike other SaGa games where if you lose 1 LP, you get knocked out and you have to be revived, like SaGa Frontier, when you lose LP, nothing bad happens until you hit 0. So this is the adventure screen. It's kind of like a board game. You're on an individual tile and you move throughout the tiles. And as you're moving through these tiles, the enemies are also moving through them. And enemies have a set amount of turns before they move, so like every 3 turns they'll move, or every 2 turns they move. And the rate at which they move is determined by their enemy type, so you have plants, monsters, beasts, that sort of thing. And they also have an aggro rate where when they run into you, the chance that they will attack you is determined by their aggro rate. And because they aggroed there, I'm now fighting. And if they don't aggro, they just kind of show up on the screen, and then you can choose to move on or fight them yourself. And one of the abilities we're using on the field that Laura starts with is Aura, which reduces your aggro rate by 30%. So by using Aura with Laura, which is a fun Aura, we reduce the aggro rate by 30%, and that causes certain enemies, if say their aggro rate is 30% base, it'll reduce it to 0%, so they'll never attack us. So beasts, birds, and plants will never attack us on their own when we have Aura up. Whereas wildlings, the kind of goblin-looking dude there, has a 70% rate of aggro, so by reducing by 30%, chance of attacking us anyways, which is what happened there. coming up on the nip. So I'm going to focus up for a second, then explain it afterwards. So I think that might have been good. So now I just have to hold northwest. So basically, you quick save, which boots you back to the title screen. Then you load the file on a specific note in the song is what I use to determine when to load. And then I buffer my input so that I move exactly when I'm able to. And I didn't get the manip, but I should be fine based on what we have here. Gonna throw a quick save down. It's more fun when you don't get the manip, you know? We're going to attempt to make a metal bow with random arrow shot. We do that through blacksmithing. We're going to take this marcasite and combine it with some wood. And that gets us a weapon with 2 abilities, and now we're going to take that weapon with 2 abilities and we're going to forge it into a bow using this fur. And so now we got quick shot, random arrow shot in the bow. We're also going to make an additional dagger here for our boy Henri, which is the dude's name to use. And smithing will become a big deal later on. Suffice to say, smith a weapon into a new weapon by taking a dagger and making it into a bow. It will change its moveset. And the moveset is determined by the weight of the weapon. And the weight of the weapon is determined by the primary material and the secondary material you choose. So by choosing fur, we guaranteed that we would get a random arrow shot as the second ability. And you notice I forged something called marcasite with a piece of wood. And for some reason, the localization changed copper ore to marcasite. So it would make a lot more sense to forge copper ore with wood to get copper. But instead, marcasite's some sort of like gemstone. But you get copper somehow by forging a gemstone with wood in the English version of this game. That's fine. So the reason why we want that metal bow with random arrow shot is that random arrow shot is a multi-target attack. And this fight really sucks when you don't have a multi-target attack. Because there's 5 targets. And we queue up a dagger attack, even though we don't actually use that dagger attack, because the distance between you and the enemy and the ideal distance of the weapon you use determines how fast you go in battle. And so if you're faster than the enemy's first attack, then you'll be able to choose your first attack. So by queuing a dagger as our first action, we can help guarantee that we go first in that encounter, and so are able to take out a bunch of those bees before they have a chance to move. So we're looking for obstacle crossing, which we haven't seen yet. It's going to be an important ability for later on. It lets us save some time. It's not like vital, but it'll save some time because the abilities you get on that screen, and we'll get to that screen, don't worry. But the abilities you get on that screen determines what you do. Oh, that's a bit. And the abilities you have on that bar let you determine what you can do on the field here. So, for instance, I have Aura as a ability on my panel board, which is what that thing, scary thing, is called. So I'm able to cast Aura as Laura. And we want Obstacle Crossing, which lets you get over rocks in your way and stuff like that, because there's a adventure we'll be going on later on where it'll be faster if we're able to cross over rubble. It basically lets us skip the entire dungeon instead of having to go through a bit of it. So ideally, we get obstacle crossing before then. Panels that you get for your panel board are completely random. So you're just kind of at the mercy of RNG for if you get obstacle crossing or not. One of the fun things that determines if you're on the run or not. I have a cat on my lap. So one of the things that determines what you get on that panel board there is the actions you take during each adventure. So if you queue up a bunch of punches, you'll be able to get a punch panel more likely at the end of the adventure. So sometimes we'll be queuing up actions, even if they aren't actually used in the battle, they will still affect the panels we get at the end of each adventure. That'll come into play later on, but we don't really have any action that we want to be able to spam in order to have a higher chance of getting obstacle crossing. We just kind of gotta hope we get it. And some scenarios don't actually start with a character with aura, so you actually have to try and roll the aura to be able to avoid encounters, which can greatly affect the time you end up getting. So it's actually really good that Laura starts with aura. Insect here. Insects have a 9% base aggro rate, so even with aura applied, you have a 60% each time you run into an insect, like this one, to get into a battle. Usually for random encounters, we'll be doing a single stab with Henri to guarantee that we go first, and then we'll either do multiple stabs to take care of the enemy, or if there are multiple enemies, we'll use random arrow shot to take care of them. Like here in this force encounter, there's a bunch of enemies, so we'll switch to random arrow shot. And try and kill as many as possible before they get a chance to move. Pretty good. And similar to you, the enemy can queue up a certain amount of actions. The leader of the enemy group can queue up +1 of their regular amount of actions. So if enemy would normally get 2 actions per battle, if it's the leader or the first one you run into, it'll get 3 actions instead. And they can queue up a maximum of 7 actions, I believe. So even if the enemy group in total can do more than 7 things, they'll only be able to do 7 actions. I think we're good on copper. So here we're going to get our third party member finally, Michelle. Michelle comes with a gun, which is pretty good for certain fights. It does high LP and HP damage, but it only hits once, so it's a bit limited in its late game potential. And we'll get into all the damage formula fun stuff later on when it becomes a bit more relevant. Like every other character, just unequip everything except what you really need. It's barely worth it to do aura here because most of the enemies you run into in this hallway will still have over 100% aggro rate even with aura applied, but you can run into birds which will not fight you with aura, so the off chance you actually run into a bird to apply it. Unlike most attacks, you have to hit a specific panel on the reel in order to get an actual attack with a gun. And you've probably been seeing this scary reel come up a few times and wondering to yourself what the heck that is. For early game, it doesn't really matter. But like other SaGa games, you can spark abilities. But unlike other SaGa games, you can't just pick the sparked ability in a menu once you learn it. You have to pick the specific position in the reel that is associated with that ability. So at base, every panel in the reel has the level 1 art, but when you spark the level 2 art, depending on what panels you have, certain parts of the reel will have a level 2 art instead, so you have to hit that specific position in the reel to do that level 2 art. This will become extremely important later on because we'll be wanting to learn a specific axe art that will let us beat the game, essentially. Without it, we'd be doomed. And it's a level 4 art, so we have to get good at hitting a very specific panel in the reel a whole bunch of times in the end game. Luckily, we're godlike at reverse delta right now, so it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, this is just one big hallway. We're inside a ship. Something has happened on the ship, so we're investigating. So oftentimes when you're trying to kill enemies, you want to combo with them because even if you combo with an enemy, it increases your combo rate, which increases your chance of doing LP damage. The problem with comboing with enemies is that their attacks also get that combo bonus. So their attacks are more deadly as well. This doesn't matter until the end game. The final boss is actually very capable of killing you. So comboing with the final boss can be dangerous. But for the most part, it's no big deal. So we're on the outside of the ship now. So we're gonna see what all the hubbub is about. And it turns out it's another pursuer of Henri. A bunch of birds. So just like the other fights, we're going to do a dagger, shoot a bunch. We're also gonna queue up a shot because there's a chance the Delibird will survive all this. I don't think Delibird's the right word for it, but I'm gonna call it a Delibird. That sounds familiar for some reason. And shoot will have a higher chance of taking it out. Doesn't it look like a Delibird? Whatever that is. Maybe that's a Pokemon. Well, that's the end of that adventure, so one more chance. Full obstacle crossing, I believe, which we did not get, unfortunately. So we'll have to take the long way around in that one dungeon. Just fine. Or whatever. Actually, we get one more chance. So here we get a cutscene. Every scenario kind of leads to Vaftum and the Iskandar Festival. So most scenarios you end up watching this forced cutscene, which you can't skip. So usually the characters will run into another main character. Like there's Ventus. So this is kind of where all the scenario stories cross over.
Sorry.
So coming up, we'll be doing some forging. Like I said before, Marcasite plus wood equals copper. And when you forge a weapon into the same type of weapon, say you have a metal bow and you forge a metal bow from it, you're just reinforcing the same weapon. So you don't change the ability set it has. And you want to do that if it has low
Right.
durability. You're basically
Knew
just
you'd
adding
like
durability
this.
to the same weapon. But if you take that bow and turn it into a dagger, it instead becomes a new weapon, and so rolls a new
When the memorial
ability
fires
set,
were lit, I could not fight back the tears.
and which is
Father
determined by
and
the
mother
resulting weight of the
are
primary
no
and secondary
longer in
material.
this world.
And we want very specific abilities on the weapons
people
we
of SaGa,
forge.
so
The
familiar
ones
to
we'll
me,
be doing right now
were
are a bunch of
lost in the
bows, and we
devastation
want
that struck the
multi-shot
city.
on the bows, which
Never
is
will they
a
come back to this
single
beautiful
target
city.
attack that has multiple hits to it,
That was the first
hence the name
and last
multi-shot. The
time I would ever
level
see
1
Laura
art
shed
is double
tears.
shot, so it hits twice. And
It was
as
also
part
the
of
first
the
time I realized
formula for LP
that I
damage
was not the only
calculation,
one grieving.
every hit an attack has is an additional roll to do LP damage. So if you hit an enemy, or if an attack does a single hit, it rolls one time to do LP damage at base. But if an attack hits more than once, so if it hits twice, it rolls twice to see if it does LP damage. So without any other interference, double shot can do 2 LP damage, whereas a single stab can only do 1 LP. So having attacks that do multiple hits is really good in this game. There are also other things that determine if an attack will do multiple or additional LP rolls, including how much damage you do. So if you do over 499 damage, you get an additional roll. And if you do more than the max HP of the enemy, you get an additional roll. And we're doing some weird, funky stuff here. Henri has an heirloom dagger that unlocks this secret place underneath the tomb, and we learn about the elemental gear or something, which we need to do stuff. And this is one of our former retainers, I think, when Henri was still a prince. And he comes to scoop up Henri, so Laura's left alone.
Pablo, tell me, what should I do now?
So Laura's just kind of like, what do I do now? Then Henri is like, yo, come with. And Francis comes with as well.
I
He's
was
kind of
relieved to see the expression on
the
her
bodyguard of Galileos,
Laura would
that one
most
dude
likely
we
be
saw,
angry
so he's gonna
face and
chill
tell
with
me not
us.
to be impudent. But I was worried about.
And he
leaving
comes
Laura
with a couple
alone.
good weapons, a Marcosite spear and a copper sword. And we want to make a bunch of copper bows, so and use both those to make that. We're gonna unequip them real quick and do some forging. Also, we're actually gonna throw some chainmail on him because we want him to be somewhat survivable. Yeah, that works. I have 2 cats on me. We're gonna throw a quick save down just in case some of this stuff gets messed up. We're gonna do some forging here. So first, we're gonna turn the Marcosite into copper staffs. You can't make Marcosite bows, so you have to make a Marcosite something else first. Take you and the silver sword. Stone spear. I believe we have one more thing. Do we have anything good here? We'll go with. So we got 2 bows with multi-shot. One of them still has to multi-shot on one with random arrow shot and multi-shot. So we'll have to unlock another ability to get multi-shot on that one. We're gonna swap out. Actually, you're probably good to go. gonna equip all those bows so that they have a chance to get additional abilities. Because each time they're in battle, they have a chance of getting additional stuff unlocked on them. So now we have 4 party members, and Francis is an important
Your Highness,
late
please
game
allow me.
character because he's going to be one of our axe users. And axe users need to build up their strength because the damage calculation for axe damage is based on strength, whereas damage with bows is based on your skill stat. Which one is it? And it's more important to have a lot of strength than it is to have a lot of skill for your skill users, because the strength users are going to, or the axe users are going to be doing the majority of the actual HP damage and LP damage for the final boss, whereas the bow users are kind of there as utility and combo potential. So what we're going to be doing whenever we get into a fight is do up a bunch of martial arts abilities with Francis, because we want a bunch of panels on his panel board
You
with
gonna
the
stand
punch
there
icon.
or put up a fight.
And probably a good time to talk about the panel board. So not only does the panel board determine what abilities you have on the field, it also determines your stats. And what stat a certain position in the panel board benefits is based on... where was I going with it? Basically, each position on the panel board benefits a different stat. So the top 2 ones benefit strength. The top, or the northwest and east one, benefit skill. And those are the only 2 that really matter. And some of the other positions in the panel board also benefit other stats, but we don't care about those stats. They might help with status recovery, but it's not really certain if they do a whole lot. So we want high growth panels, which are usually panels with a weapon on them. They tend to have high stat growth. And particularly the martial arts panels have high stat growth. And also there's a thing where if you have
Why in the
2
world am I even bothering with Henri?
panels with the same
Can't be 'cause
image
I'm
on
lonely.
them
Can it?
next to each other, you get a joint bonus from them, so you get additional stats. And if you have 3 in a line, you get even more additional stats. So if you have a line of martial arts panels, which is the one that's represented by punches, you get a bonus to your strength stat, which is good for our axe users. So we want to build a line of martial arts panels, so we are using punch a bunch, get punch, kick, and throw panels at the end of each adventure. Both get higher strength stats and also build a line to get the strength. And we'll kind of be looking at that at the end of each adventure to see how well we're doing. It's good that we get Francis early, because it gives us a lot of time to build up his panel board, get him all swole for the end game. And it's good when you don't run into a lot of enemies in an adventure, because that means that you're saving time. But also the enemies you run into and the amount determines the level and what abilities you get at the end of each adventure. So you kind of want to run into a few so that you get level 2 panels instead of a bunch of level 1 panels, because level 1 panels give you less stat growth. So we definitely do not have obstacle crossing, which is fine. You get to do the long way for the next dungeon.
Do not weep. You shall not let Laura see your tears.
So this
ever
is
again.
Henri's former town, kingdom, which was burned down by Dagobos, the leader of the evil dudes. don't actually do an adventure here, we just go here. So Dagobos is kind of the main bad guy in the scenario. So since we cannot obstacle cross, we're instead going to actually go through the dungeon. And it's not even worth using aura here because pretty much everything you run into is either a demon or undead. That's like the one thing that you run into that can be affected by aura, beastling. Usually you just run into a demon or dead. They have 100% aggro rate even with aura, so no point in using it really. So for reference, we'd be reading books at the dungeon end of the dungeon by now. Be pretty much wrapping up the adventure. No, we gotta walk through this whole thing instead. And undead tend to only have 1 LP, but have high defenses and high HP. So sometimes it's good to use a gun on them because it does high HP damage to help guarantee LP damage on them. And I mentioned previously that HP basically acts as a shield for LP, so the less HP the enemy has as compared to their max HP, so like 50%, etc., the more likely they are to take damage. So you don't have to reduce an enemy's HP all the way. Usually, as long as you get it down to like 50%, you can start doing LP damage fairly reliably. And usually you're able to do enough HP damage immediately to be able to start doing LP damage. That's not the case for the final boss, where they have such a large HP pool that you have to attack it a bunch of times before you can actually do real LP damage to it. Which is where having high strength build comes into play a certain extent. You need to go through a whole lot of HP before you can do anything else. Thank you, everyone. And I mentioned before that each panel on the panel board determines your stats, and what position you choose on the panel board determines what stat it affects. What also affects that is the innate growth of each character. So each character has a 1 to 5 rating for each of their stats, which determines how much stats they get from each panel. You place them on the board. So one of the reasons Francis is really good is that he has a high strength and skill growth for each, so 4 strength and 4 skill. With the max being 5, he's not like absolute top tier character, but it's pretty good. Let's get here. In the Judy scenario, you get Armand, who has 5 in both strength and skill, and more LP than Armand or Francis, who's just kind of the dopest character all around. So Francis is essentially budget Armand, if you're familiar with the Judy scenario. But he's good enough. He's our boy. So now we are where we would have been at the start of the dungeon if we had obstacle crossing. So you do lose a lot of time by not getting that one thinking panel, but still, you get to see more of the game, so the glorious, glorious game.
You gonna stand there or put up a fight?
benefit of doing the whole dungeon is that we're more likely to get good panels. Whereas if you do have obstacle crossing, you likely just get no encounters. So just roll a bunch of level 1 panels at the end of this.
There, that'll do.
So there's my cope. So now that we're at the end of this dungeon, get to read a whole bunch of books. Or libraries. And these tell us about all the different elemental gear. They're kind of like the treasures of the SaGa kingdom. So to help reclaim SaGa from Dagobos, we want to collect all of these. So that'll be the next part of this speedrun, is just collecting all the elemental gear. And at this point in the run, you can choose whichever elemental gear you want to go for next, which determines which party member you get next, and also determines the individual adventure you go on. So we're going to go on a very specific order to benefit the speedrun in a few ways. After we're done reading books, that's the end. Now we're no longer looking for obstacle crossing. So that's a punch panel, which is good. That's something we want. We're going to start helping him build up our boy.
Dagobas destroyed the entire kingdom of SaGa to obtain a certain power. It is my duty to know its secret.
Oh yeah, I guess Dagobos is
But
also trying to get the
should I
elemental gear.
involve
That's why
Lore
he
in
destroyed
this
this kingdom in the
any
first
further?
place. So first we're going to go for the water elemental gear. That gets us Armic, one of the main characters of another scenario, the Choppa. Lovable Choppa man. So the gimmick of this adventure is that you have this orb, you have to bring it to certain slots in the environment,
You gonna stand
insert it,
there, or
but
put
it has
up
to
a
be at a
fight?
certain temperature or else it won't do anything. You have to use a pool to cool down the orb, and then get to certain slots before it warms up again. And you can tell when it's at a certain warmth by the color of the orb. So here we're going to use this pond. It's going to cool off the orb. We're going to wait here to try and make enemies collect here. And what this does is it skips having to talk to this weird frog that you just ignore and then it goes away. And what this also does is it gathers all the enemies into one place, so instead of running into them into separate locations, you can fight them all at once to save time. And for whatever reason, they just won't enter that one panel with the pond, so you can just wait there forever and let the enemies collect. And the other benefit of waiting there is it gives the orb time to cool down. So when you get to the certain slot that needs it to be, or warmed up rather, I should say. When it wants to be at a certain warmth for a certain slot, it will be at the correct value. Now that Henri has a bit more skill, we can stab undead with more reliability. Insert it, while it's cooled off into the first one. We're going to move to the next slot, and when we get there, it's going to have warmed up enough to turn green, just in time for it to be inserted into the next one. That also avoids it shaking as you get near, if it's not already at the temperature you need it to be. And this is what we avoided the first time. All you gotta do is wait and observe. It lets you go on your way. And another one's here, but once again, you just wait and observe, and you're fine. And we're at the final slot, but the orb hasn't warmed up enough, so we're gonna waste a few turns here. Now it's heated all the way up, ready to be inserted. So this opens the secret chamber, that we can get the first piece of elemental gear, so a few other treasures. So this is one of the reasons why we want to do this early, is to get one of the treasures in here, because it sells for a lot of money. There's a route where you don't sell the thing you get here, instead forge a weapon with it, because you can get a very good spear with the material. Yeah. And that helps speed up some of the mid-game boss fights, but that also makes you have less money during your route. Less leeway in what you can and cannot buy. Do aura here, because if you do it up there, then you have to see that thing again. There's a chest over here which we can open and get a random item. Good material. The chest in here won't be trapped, whereas most chests we run into other places will be, so it's just a free item. So if you ever see me run into a chest outside of this place, or a trap like that, those are all completely random. And the chests will usually be booby traps, so it's not worth opening them. And the traps, while they do some damage to you, it's never significant enough. You just smash the traps and not worry whether or not you take damage from them. And the field reel you get during the trap is determines if you take damage or not. So theoretically, if you cared, you could try and get a good reel there to not get hurt, but we do not care. So we got some good panels for Francis there. So Chappa has a barter system for their shop. It's not really worth it to look at it. We want to do metal next. So this gets us Musul which is going to be our second axe user. And also, at the completion of this adventure, we end up in Vaftum, which is convenient. It's always unequip. And Musul also starts with Aura, which is good because the panel that gives Laura Aura is in an inconvenient location because it's her primary skill slot on her panel board, so it kind of prevents her from getting decent skill stat. Whereas Musul it's in a more useless position in this panel board. Once you get Musul you can switch to using Aura with him instead and replace Aura on Laura's board. So the gimmick of this adventure is that there's a caved-in wall that you need bombs to get through. So you need to go through the dungeon and collect 2 bombs. So we're gonna get to where we get the first one soon. Do a shot because these guys have a lot of HP. So the first bomb is here. There's a statue that guards it. It's just RNG whether or not the statue will attack you and prevent you from getting the bomb or not. So I'm lucky there. Because I was able to get the bomb first try. And it's just literally just spam the statue until you get the bomb. So we have first the 2 bombs we need. So next bomb is on the screen after this one, so we just have to navigate through this screen. There's a whole lot of holding up. And Musulyani is our second axe user. He's kind of a secondary damage dealer after Francis gets built up. And the benefit of using Musulyani is that he actually has 5 strength growth and 1 skill growth, which the common knowledge is that skill helps LP damage, so it kind of makes it seem that Musulyani is not actually that good of a axe user. But from my testing, I haven't found any correlation between skill and LP damage, except when skill actually affects your HP damage, which for axe attacks it does not. So Musul having 5 strength is perfect, and having 1 skill growth is meaningless for our purposes. He also starts with 2 martial arts panels on his board, so he just needs 1 additional martial art panel to form a line. The only downside to Musulyani is that he has less LP at 14, whereas Francis has 19. And you get him much later in the scenario, so you have less chance to build him up, but he already kind of starts pretty well built. He also comes with an axe panel, which you would think would be good as an axe user, but it's actually bad because all panels do for a weapon type is affect how their battle reel is laid out for the arts of that type. So by having that axe panel, it actually makes the panel I want to hit at a different position than it typically is without the panel, so it messes up my timing. So I actually want to get rid of that axe panel before endgame, so I don't have to deal with having 2 different timings for the axe art that I need to hit. So now we're at the cave-in after getting the 2 bombs. And this wildling's kind of chasing us, but Aura's helping him not attack us. And at the end of this adventure is this Jester guy. This is one of the first bosses that we're going to use this technique on. We're going to use a spell which has a high distance from the enemy, and as I said earlier, the further the preferred distance of your initial attack versus the distance to your enemy, the longer it takes for you to do that attack. So by casting a spell, it prevents us from getting a lot of actions early, which causes the enemy to do all of their actions before we do anything, essentially, which lets us combo all of our moves together. use a spell on purpose to have the enemy use all of its attacks, and then be able to get a sweet combo. Take it out quickly. So now we got another of the elemental gears. And we're gonna go ahead and throw that there. And now we can get rid of Aura on Laura. We're gonna not get rid of the axe yet. We don't need to yet. We're gonna end up back in Vaftum, which is good because certain shops or certain locations, their shops will sell certain items, and this location has a high chance of selling iron, which it has not here. That's not the end of the world. We're gonna do a couple of forgings here. We're gonna actually take a quick trip to Longshank because it's another place that can have iron. We do need to find 2 pieces of iron. There is a way to force it at the end if we don't find it during the scenario. Could be able to scenario. Nothing here. I also want to find some deflect weapon. So next we're going to go to the wood elemental gear. Just gets us this plant dude, Platyphylum. And the gimmick of this adventure is that you kind of get lost in the woods until you happen upon the elemental gear. So we got to get to the maze over here. There we are. And it's time to get lost. Or time to fight a bird, I guess. So Henri's skill is high enough at this point that just a single stab should kill the lower level enemies.
That'll do.
Have we won already?
Have we won already? And to get lost in the woods, we're just going to stay in the same location. And we found the ring. Good getting lost. There's a cat on me again. So another boss fight here, the Jumbo Moth.
Look, pal, size doesn't really matter to me.
We're gonna do the same strat of using a spell and then queuing up attacks. Do afterwards. So Jumbo Mock has 6 LP, so there's a decent chance he'll survive this turn. Go through this again. He also has a chance of stunning, which whenever you get stunned, you get like a 60% chance of each of your attacks getting canceled for the turn. Just didn't go through all the moves, so we didn't get the full combo. We're just gonna do the same thing again. So this is the part of the game that could be sped up by having the Gale Spear, which is the item we sold. We had we found the dragon scale dagger, the water elemental adventure, and you could force that into a spear, and that helps get through these mid-game bosses quicker. But money is cool. Oh, I did that wrong. But it worked out anyway. Never punished. And yeah, when you combo attacks, all of the reels are going at the same time. So in order to get a reel on one of the ones you're comboing, you need to hit all of the right panels on each reel that's spinning all at the same time. So because we don't have any iron, we're going to check Vaftum. The shop lists get randomized at the end of each adventure. So each time you complete an adventure is another check for iron till you get some. There's one. There's two. All right, we're good to go. Good to have. Skin's good to have. That's a bit too expensive. So now we can go on the final elemental gear, and we're going to leave Michelle behind because she's not a part of our final adventure crew. She only has 6 LP, which makes her distinctly not great for endgame, but she is cool because she has 5 strength and 5 skill growth. So she is actually awesome. Just that LP keeping her down. She was too strong otherwise, had to nerf her. Although Armand got 5 and 5 and has also the most LP in the game. I'm not sure what they were cooking with Armand. Oh.
Anubito have the highest regard for beauty.
I do have a martial arts line on Francis's panel right now, but because one of them is a level 1 panel and the other 2 are level 2, I don't get the additional same level bonus, which gives us additional strength. So ideally we have a line of all level 2 martial arts. But right now we have a level 1 in there, which still gets us some benefit. We want to build up some kick history on Francis to increase the chance of him getting a kick panel to complete the level 2 line. We kind of just don't bother building up history for Musil. Just kind of hope he gets what he gets. Strange. Hold on while I... Look at Discord. I'm gonna pause timer, sure, why not? Oh, that's the wrong key. So I guess there's some sort of desync. Also, this white line that's been bothering me. Fix that white line. I don't know where that white line's coming from. Oh, probably. Okay, there's that white line gone. So desync problem might be trickier. We're going to... activate and reactivate. Hope that helps. We're going to continue like that did help. It seemed to be fine on my end anyways. Oh, I resetted the timer entirely. So can we start at a certain time? I believe I was at 108. Just figure out how to start from a certain time. I'll break out the calculator to find out how many seconds that is. Okay. And nothing happened. Oh, 102, 108. Well, we added 6 minutes, let's say. So minus 6 minutes on the timer. So the gimmick of this area is that there's a bunch of murals. You have to progress through the dungeon by interacting with specific murals and fighting the monsters sealed within the murals. A lot of the murals just lead to nothing, but luckily we know which murals are good. Right. Now the white line's gone. There we go. I still had a browser captured, so it was kind of messing with the layout slightly, apparently. The woes of a restreamer. Queued up multi-shot there specifically because skeletons are kind of hard to kill. So in case the random arrow shot doesn't take them both out, you can quickly take them out with a double shot. We have nothing to fear from these beasts because they have only 10% base aggro rate. So with aura, they'll just never attack us. So, seeing all those guys is not actually scary. Fortunately, ghosts, they don't care about aura. And our Metal bow needs to be repaired. We're gonna swap, I think, Laura and Henri's bows. Henri still has random arrow shot. We'll just have to repair that bow at some point. Oh, it's, it was Michelle's bow. We ditched. We'll have to unequip her later on. So as long as we don't run into any crowd. Interact with the Firebird mural. Fighting a Firebird, weirdly enough. I think we're pretty much good on having to buy items throughout the run. We do want to get more, that bow being broken is kind of annoying. Throws off this fight a little bit. But we do want to buy wood throughout the run anyways, because the more you have, the better for forging axes. There's a weird thing with forging Damascus, which is the best material you can have for an axe. The more wood you have, the more likely you are to be able to forge it. Let's go stab, stab. Marker site, nice. There is a random chance of getting items at the end of fights, which can be a material, and material is good because you can use it for forging. Depending on the material you get. Our aura must have wore off because the beast flies. So unfortunately, there's two of them, so add two. We no longer have our random arrow shot for crowd damage. And with the Firebird mural dead, there's another hole in the wall we can go through. One of the reasons why you want to do this scenario later is because you want to have swimming as a field ability. Armic starts with level 3 swimming, so he gets a really easy field reel here to do the swim check.
You'll never know an enemy's true power until you face it.
These enemies can be kind of hard to kill. As I mentioned before, there's certain enemy types like undead, beastling, beasts, wildling, and beasts, and demons. And the further Along in the adventures you go, the more adventures you complete.
Have we won already?
The higher your adventure rank gets, and that affects the monsters that can spawn in the adventure. So as we get further in here, we are starting to see more powerful enemies like that one. I do some swimming here. Because it's a level 3 swimming, it's an easy field reel where you can just mash to get it done. More crowds that I have to stab. Ability-wise here. And you target each one individually with the knife so that you can combo the knife attacks into each other to save time instead of doing each stab individually. Go the wrong way. Okay, go this way. Yeah. Ooh, a big whale.
And who would you be?
Whenever you run into a new type of enemy, that one of your party members will comment on the fact that it's a new enemy. Nice. The broken bow got a new ability. We're coming to the end of this adventure, which will get us all of the elemental gears. Just this hallway left, essentially. But plenty of enemies run into which is good in a way. We'll probably get some decent panels out of this. And there's one more boss fight in this adventure. This is by far the longest of the elemental gear adventures. Spanning several rooms and 2 boss fights. This is the whole. And here we are at the end, behind the elemental gear, but there's a big boar in the way. And the combo rate you have depends on the number of people in the combo. Essentially adds 10% to your combo rate for each additional person in the combo. Decided not to send Laura out there just because if Laura loses all her LP, it's game over, which would be bad. Should be it for me. That. That's our final line. That's good. Staffs, that's fine. It's dead. It's good. Ooh, perfect. Oh, we should probably be... Oh, well. So now that we have all the elemental gear, we're gonna fight Dagobos, but to keep all the elemental gear safe, we're gonna not bring them to Dagobos. So we're gonna leave it with our good pal, Gallios. I'm gonna throw a save down here since it's been a little bit. Now for the grand confrontation against Dagobos. We're gonna take Michelle here, as she plays a very vital role. We believe in her more than anybody else.
Can I defeat Dagobos? Can I avenge my mother and father's death?
Well, this next room is very short, so we're just going to check. There is enemies, so we're going to use Aura. You can tell if there's an enemy because the text will be yellow or red. It was an Aquan, so it doesn't matter. Fight with or without Aura. But it could have been a beast or something. Yeah, while we're here, we'll switch, get Michelle's bow for Henri. The random arrow shot. And this room is a lot bigger, so I'm just gonna throw down Aura regardless. Oh yeah, that didn't kill. Resilient frog. That's what a frog looks like, right? So, running into a bunch of things that could fight us if we didn't have Aura up. Luckily we do. Well, other than that one Aquan, we move through easily. And slimes are the only enemy type that has a base aggro rate of 0%, so you will never fight a slime unless they're accompanying other enemies or if you choose to fight them yourself. Slimes just don't want none of that. We're at the end of this adventure. But before we go and fight Dagobos to the death, we're doing something here. Everyone's unequipped. You unequipped. Got to unequip Armek. Oh, that's why you didn't have a bow on. You're fine. We're gonna sort our inventory because we're gonna be doing a bunch of forging. We're gonna put our iron at the top because we'll be doing a lot of forging with the iron specifically. The desync spec, so I'm going to deactivate my capture and reactivate it. And should be good. So yeah, we have the iron at the top. We want that because we'll be doing a lot of forging specifically with the iron. And you can only organize your inventory while in it. Can't do that in town for whatever reason. So this is Dagobos, but you have to fight him 1v1. So who better
Your father fought
do the
valiantly
1v1
as well.
or girl?
Come, Prince.
Shell. So as I mentioned before, she has 6 LP. Makes her distinctly a bad idea for this 1v1. She's already lost 3 LP. One left. I think she's got this though. And we lose. So obviously we're supposed to lose this.
I'll play
Bring
with
Michelle
you
because she has the least
anytime.
amount of LP, so she can die the fastest. This is what chooses the route you're on, which determines the final boss before the
not
true
ready.
final boss.
All there is to do
The
now
scenario
is hold
boss,
up
I
my
should say.
strength and challenge him again.
Chaos Ruler is after that.
Entrusting the blade to Uncle Basil.
This is the
answer.
faster one because you don't actually have to beat Dagobos there, and also it makes Chaos Ruler a lot easier. Not you. And we complete the line for Moosel. He's got all the Moosels he'll ever need. We don't care about Michelle anymore, so just give her whatever. Now we're going to be doing our final forging. Let's see. just doing some equipment in here. So no more deflect weapons other than you. Gonna throw a save down and get to forging. So first thing we want to do is forge some axes. So we want to forge Damascus, which requires steel 2 and Moloch 2. Now steel 2 is 50% chance of getting you forge steel 1 with wood, and there's no indication if you have steel 1 or 2 other than steel 2 will have 1 less attack on the item. But first, to get steel, we need to forge the iron with wood. Gonna get our ironstone to iron to steel. So we have 2 steel 1 daggers here. And so we didn't really get a whole lot of wood, but that's fine. But we're not going to make Damascus. We're just going to roll with the steel axes. So now we have 2 axes with time lapse. I'm gonna repair this bow. And then make some more bows. Actually, I have to go to Vafton. Had less wood at the end than we were hoping for. Oh, the wood is here now. Yeah, we'll take that. Unfortunately, you can't forge bows at Vaftum, so we gotta go back to Wanda. The wood. Then we're gonna make a bunch of deflect weapons. And we'll confirm our final equipment. Okay, should be good. We can actually give you this, actually. And now we'll be heading into endgame. But before we go to the final dungeon, we have to check in on our boy Gallios, get the elemental gear. But oh no, Gallios has betrayed us. Francis isn't in on it, so he's gonna keep rolling with us. So now we're gonna enter a 3-battle string. The first battle being against these Minotaur-looking dudes. Gallios just gonna bounce out of here. We're gonna be spamming a random arrow shot to deal with these guys. So one thing we did was make a bunch of deflect weapons, which go into your offhand, and it gives you a, for daggers, it gives you a 29% chance to deflect attacks that are deflectable, which are usually melee attacks. So having everyone have a deflect weapon at the end of the game is important to increase your survivability, since it basically reduces a lot of Chaos Ruler's physical attacks useless 30% of the time. That's the first of 3 fights here. The next is the Agitar, which actually has a very high spark rank, which determines how likely it is to spark a level 2 or up ability off a level 1 art you use. So right now we're going to be using Slam so that we can spark an ability off Slam, and also Time-Lapse to get the most important ability of the game. And Agitar actually has a higher spark rank than most enemies you'll ever reach, including the scenario bosses, so it's a uniquely good fight to spark abilities against. We're going to try and spark everything we can against it. One annoying thing about Agitar is that it has a move that can stun and also hits everybody. So have a chance of losing a lot of actions if it does Dragon Tail. We didn't spark the ability we want with Slam or with Time-Lapse, so we'll do the same thing this turn. We didn't get the one we wanted, we got Backslash. You'll inevitably spark Backslash at some point, so it's no big deal. But we're actually looking for Reverse Delta. And each individual attack has about a 10% chance of sparking Reverse Delta. So it's not terrible odds. Not great, not terrible. Should be much more likely to spark the Slam ability we're trying to get, but no luck either case. We can see the staff blocking those moves there. So that's Reverse Delta on Francis. This is a 2-axe route though. Typically, if you're trying to get a very fast time with Laura, you go the 1-axe route, just so you spend less time trying to spark. But for safety reason, we're going with a 2-axe route, so we're also going to try to get Reverse Delta on Musil here. We still haven't got the Slam ability somehow. even though it's a level 2 ability. There's Backslash. Is the level 2 axe art for time lapse. So that's Agitar down. So next is Gallios. I'm gonna try and spark there next.
What's wrong with getting rid of useless royalty? Those with power rule the world.
What's Plat doing? Doing okay still. So we got Aqua Luna, which is like the level 4 ability. We got everything but the ability we wanted, which is the level 2 one. Should be the easiest to spark. We'll probably have to rescue Plat here. Oh no! So whenever a character gets debilitated by a status effect or knocked out through LP damage, they are still on the field, so you have to spend an action to rescue them. And the probability of rescuing them is determined by both the weight of the rescuer and the weight of the rescuee. Heavy characters a lot harder to rescue. But a plant is very light. That isn't that hard to rescue. Whereas Musulyani is a stone dog, so he's very heavy. A lot harder to rescue. At a certain point, we'll just want to switch to Francis to finish this guy off. So this is the specific ability we want to hit on the reel. Reverse Delta. It does 3 attacks, it does high LP damage, it has high HP damage, and it has high growth for your stats. So it's all around like the greatest ability in the game. And so endgame is all about spamming it as much as possible. We're gonna have to get it on Daigle Boast for Musulyani. That's what happens when you miss reverse. Get the level 1 art, which is whack by comparison. Let's 1v1 him. Rarely seen Ouroboros. There's Gallios down.
Gallius, your plans are old
Then
news to
Dagobah
me.
shows up and kills him.
Trying to use
And gets all
me
the
to get
elemental
your
gear.
hands on the blade. Ah, the shallow wisdom of men. I'll take over your aspirations, so you may die in peace.
F to Gallios.
Curse you.
And he just kind of slides off the ground there. Bunch of crap. What was that seal? Daggers. That's fine. Desync fix. That's annoying. And go with that. Doesn't matter for you. Good. I had to switch my streaming computer due to having to get set up for restreaming, so probably something messing up with that. So Michelle is not in our final party because this is the final dungeon, Chase after Dagobah, the Knuckle Lines. The end of each scenario ends up with going to one of the 7 wonders of the world.
What's more, Henri, there's no way I could just
And most
leave
of
you
the
alone.
7 wonders have a gimmick
I'm
to
sure
them.
that it was Pablo who brought us together.
The gimmick of this dungeon is that
Even
there's a
if
bunch of lines that you have to
everything
fill
goes
in,
wrong
and
we
you
die
fill them
here,
in by
we will still
just
be
going through them.
reunited with our
so you
loved
just
ones.
traverse the whole dungeon, essentially.
Laura!
Good gimmick. Laura!
Okay, let's go!
And each line in this dungeon has a specific type of enemy in it, based on what the line is. So this is the whirl line, so all the enemies are Aquan. So there's no point in using Aura, because they'll just attack me anyways. And the fun part of this line specifically is that because it's a whirlpool, you have to swim against it, which means you have to hold the opposite direction of the direction you want to move. So we just gotta traverse the line to fill it in.
I'm very good at dealing with fish.
Cool. Cool story arc. And if there's a beefy enemy, we can now just reverse delta them to kill them quickly. It's the Aquirl line filled in. Best. So each time you complete a line, you end up in this area and have to go to one of the barriers that have been undone by completing the line. To go back to the main area to go to a new one. The next one is the bird line. Shockingly, it's filled with birds. And dragons count as birds. Pressing these buttons gets rid of some barriers so that you can traverse more of the line. Just wait a turn and then reapply aura, because it wore off at that point. Yeah, the more party members you have each move, the more likely you are to have a trap or treasure chest appear, so by the end of the game you're just having traps and treasure chests pop out at you constantly and just kind of don't even pay attention to it at all, just becomes part of the game. It's the bird line complete. Next is the sword line, which has wildlings as enemies. You can apply aura, so they might not attack you, but you run into them so many times that they're probably just going to attack you anyways. Do a quick equipment check. Copper knife is the only thing getting close. And similar to before, you gotta press a bunch of these buttons to get rid of the invisible walls that you can fill in the sword. So that reversed the barrier, so now we gotta go the other way around.
Fight the good fight, no matter the foe.
Fight the good fight. This gets rid of all of the invisible walls and opens a secret wall. So we can complete the sword. There's no enemies in this area, so you're walk about with no worries. And in the main area, only slimes appear, so don't have to worry about aura there either. This area here. So next line is the insect line, or butterfly line. Wrong way. And you just do a bunch of these mini rooms to form a butterfly. And surprise, there's insects. So probably good to start talking about the final boss now. Each character has a scenario boss. This one will be Dagobos.
You're gonna stand there?
If you beat
or put up a
Dagobos
fight?
at his castle, it'd be Gallios instead, but Dagobos is an easier fight. And depending on the scenario boss, the final boss, Chaos Ruler inherits an attack from it. In this case, Chaos Ruler will inherit Dog God, great attack, just for its name. And Chaos Ruler is a 4-phase fight. The first phase has 20,000 health. Well, Chaos Ruler itself has 20,000 health. And it starts at full phase 1 and has, I believe it's 26 LP. And the thing about phase 2 and 3 is that it doesn't regain health. You're able to do LP damage to it pretty quickly in phase 2 and 3. But each phase, Chaos Ruler gains an additional attack. So in phase 1, it can attack 3 times. Phase 2, it can attack 4 times. In phase 3, it can attack 5 times, and those attacks get more and more deadly.
Fight the good
So you don't want to
fight,
spend a whole lot of time
no
in those
matter the
phases.
foe.
And then the 4th phase regains all of its HP, so it's back to 20,000, so you have to burn through a lot of its HP before you can do LP damage again. And it has 20 LP, whereas phase 2 has 16 LP and phase 3 has 11 LP, so pretty small comparatively. And this is the giant line, which has undead in it. The cat on me. So this is the final line we have to fill in. And the gimmick of this line is that there's hidden door or hidden walls. You just have to know to walk into a wall, be able to pass through it. Because Chaos Ruler has so much health with 20,000, you've got to get it down to like 10,000 before being able to reliably do LP damage. So you got to do a whole lot of HP damage first, which is where the axe attacks come in. You can do a lot of damage by spamming reverse delta. So the 1 through 3 of the battle is kind of... You can consider them just one huge phase, because of the fact that Chaos Ruler does not regain its HP. So for that phase, we're going to be using Musulyani as our attack, or axe user, because Chaos Ruler can do less LP damage per turn, so you send the axe user that has less LP in for phases 1 through 3, and then Francis will be reserved for phase 4, because phase 4 just kind of goes wild. It gets 7 actions instead of just 1 more to 5 or 6, and also gets really high LP damage. So it becomes a very big DPS race between yourself and Chaos, because you're just doing massive damage to each other, and Chaos will just burn through your characters. So we want to reserve our phase 4 characters as much as possible. Usually you have either 1 or 2 tanks and then your axe user, because the way targeting works in this game is that the person in front in your formation is the most likely to get targeted. With a 2-person formation, it's a 70-30 split. So same percent chance of the first character getting targeted, 30% chance of the second character. With 3 characters on the field, it's a 55, 25, 20. I think that math works out.
I must find
so
stronger
55%
enemies.
chance of the first person getting hit. So you either want a 2-person or a 3-person formation to prevent your axe user from getting too much damage. So you typically have tanks for phase 1 through 3, and then tanks for phase 4 specifically, so that you can preserve as much LP on your tanks and axe user as possible for phase 4. So our boulder dude and our plant character will be our 2 tanks for phase 4, and the rest of the characters will be our tanks for phase 1 through 3. Laura, you have to be careful with, because if she runs out of LP, then it's game over. So you have to be extra careful with your main character in the Chaos Ruler fight. You generally never want to send them out in phase 4 unless literally everyone else is dead. So that will be the general game plan of the old Chaos fight. We'll be getting there soon, because this is the final line we're about to complete. There's just funny little gimmick here where you just got to know to go against this wall. It does make a click noise when you go against it, so it's Chomsky, I think you're gonna have to get off my lap, sorry, Chomsky. It's about to be serious time.
You gonna stand there or put up a
Chomsky
fight?
understands. So all the lines are complete, so now we can enter the inner sanctum. And here we get the Tetraforce, which shows up in the final dungeons and lets you save. Throw a save down here. And also lets you pick panels one last time. Ooh. That's actually really, really good. think it's decent enough. Just gotta be careful not to cancel the save. But because we didn't get a reverse delta, or drag down for that matter, we're gonna have to try and spark those on Dagobos here, the scenario boss. I will be king of the world. Going to reset our capture one last time.
Try as you might,
Any
the result
desyncs?
will be the same.
So let's try and spark some stuff here.
Don't think this'll be like last time.
Nice block. No, Chomsky, I'll stay there. It's okay. Yeah. This is the final fight before the true final battle. We don't want to be trying to spark stuff on the final battle because things are too serious then. So depending on how this goes, we might have to reset to ensure we spark here. That's gotta be dragged down. So we got the thing we want on flat. So now we just need reverse delta on Muzzle. And you regain half your max LP going into the Chaos Ruler fight, so as long as we minimize the damage to Muzzle a little bit, we'll be okay. Good blocks, good blocks. Chomsky. Send out our boulder boy. Yeah, each individual try is about 8% chance against Dagobos, so it's about 25% chance each time, each turn. To get the reverse delta. Still fine on LP though.
You haven't
Chomsky, stay there.
learned a thing!
Chomsky. Chomsky getting dangerously close to the PS2. The joy of speedrunning while having 4 cats. There we go. Okay. So now we have reverse delta on our both our actions. Free to proceed. So he's kind of blocking the screen, but that's fine. Now we can just finish off Dagobos. And one aspect I've mentioned is the preferred distance for attacks. Usually you want daggers, because that's the distance you are from the enemy is the preferred distance of a dagger for most fights. But Chaos Ruler is actually much further away, so bows are actually the preferred weapon for going first. So that's why all of our tanks have bows. And we want multi-shot on all the bows because that will help damage. Because of the multiple hits that multi-shot does. We should be getting pretty close to the end of Dagobos. He does have a lot of LP, but not a lot of HP, so it's really easy to do LP damage to him. I kind of forgot there was one more reel there, so I missed the timing. No excuse for that one. Run. No. Extra difficulty wrangling cats while fighting chaos will be fun. Okay, that's Dagobos done. So
to rule the world.
his elemental gear, as is the end of every scenario, whatever power the scenario boss is pursuing ends up swallowing them and transforming them into Chaos Ruler. And also transports us to the moon. One of two moons. There's a blue moon and a red moon. First, it's the blue moon. cha0sTwitch. Yeah, we're entering the first form of chaos. First phase. It's the least scary phase since it only has 3 actions. There is a mechanic to chaos called the Chaos Wing, where if the wing is closed, it will only do a limited set of physical attacks, and when the wing is open, it will do magic attacks, but its defense will also decrease.
You gotta be kidding me!
And every time you attack it while its wing is open, it has a chance of closing. Every time... cha0sTwitch, you're actually blocking. cha0sTwitch was blocking where it said who's the target of the spell. So up our moves here. So we're going to buff Musil to do extra damage with Flora, and then we're going to try and use Drag Down to reduce Chaos' strength so that he does less HP damage. And yeah, every time you attack it while its wing is closed, it can open, and every time you attack it while wing is open, it can close. It can only open or close once per turn. So ideally, you want it open to do extra damage. But also gets access to more dangerous moves. Gonna be a whole lot of reverse delting from here.
Dagger boss, have you lost all of the Alubito's pride? 'Tis a repulsive sight.
And every third turn, when you attack it, while its wing is open, it will close no matter what. There's also a mechanic where, depending on what turn you kill Chaos, you kill one of its two faces. So if you kill it on an even turn, you kill the blue face. If you kill it on an odd turn, you kill the red face. What that does is it determines what moveset the second phase has. And the blue face moveset is a bit more dangerous than the red face moveset. It's worse in the Japanese version because in addition to the different moves, it also gets 10 more LP.
They were all killed
If it has
to gain
blue
this
face.
power?
So on the Japanese version, it's very important to defeat phase 1 on an even turn. It's not as important in the English version because it just affects the moves, so it's not as huge of a deal. And because we have 2 axe users, we can be a bit more liberal
What's going on? What is
with their LP. So we can use a single tank formation more, which lets us do reverse delta more often. So far, everything's going more or less fine. Musol's LP is perfectly fine, so we'll keep the 1 tank formation. And now that we've done substantial HP damage, we're now able to do real LP damage. I say that and then do 0 LP damage the next one. It's all probability, so just get a certain amount of rolls and a certain probability based on a very complex formula. How are you doing? You're still fine, we're still fine. We should be nearing phase 2. Nice block, nice block. Sword Dance is the more dangerous attack. In the closed wing form, it can do 3 LP damage very easily. Face to get. Red face. The red face is the less dangerous one. Because it doesn't regain its HP, we can keep burning through its LP. Just keep going with these dudes. And because it's the second phase, it now has 4 actions instead of 3 actions, so it's starting to get more dangerous. And there's also Dog God, the scenario-specific move, which does a whole lot of LP damage. 6/6. Max a single move can do is 3 LP though, so at least caps at that. how are we doing? Still fine. I don't want to send out Laura. How about Laura and Armic? So. Okay, we're into phase 3, so this is where things get dicey. Gets access to its heavy hitter moves. Also gets more actions. But it only has 11 LP and it doesn't get its HP back. So you try to get through phase 3 as fast as possible. Or it just has to survive this turn. So, Laura, you did good job. Die.
I would be delighted to fight on.
So this is our transition to phase 4. We're going to try to do the transition this turn. But it kind of depends on how much damage Musil can do. And then we have our staff attack queued up, so we can reduce phase 4's strength as soon as phase 4 starts. So that's why Plat is queued up here. So that probably won't do any LP damage. Deployed Plat for no reason.
We too are plagued by this chaos present within ourselves. Thrown off by those status effect panels. I could still. Okay, good. Was 1 LP off the transition? That's a thing. Now we're in the final phase. So it regains all of its HP, so we have to burn through 20k HP again. Although we just have to get through 10k before we can start doing real LP damage. But it does have 7 actions now, and a lot of doozy actions. Some attacks consume multiple actions though, so it's not necessary that you'll attack 7 times per turn. So we got dragged down to reduce its strength. Hopefully Musil survives here. Okay. Musil did his job. Now it's time for our boulder boy to step in, and Francis, who's got all of his LP, we're able to do
I'm
damage
ready
here.
for a fight.
And the benefit of doing 2 people deployed is that a lot of attacks that phase 4 can do is multi-target, so it doesn't actually benefit much to have multiple people on the field. The main thing is not getting your axe user Raven Bladed. Usually what you try and avoid. Nice block. How's our boulder doing? Still fine. Gonna go 2 tank for a little bit since Francis took some beating there. Now imagine doing this with Francis as your only axe user. And overkill's the move you kind of don't want to see, as the name implies.
I'm going to hit you with everything I've got.
Probably want to go 2 format. Good thing is that we're in LP damage territory now. Ravenblade and Francis. There's a big boulder right there. There you go. Okay, maybe that's a bit much. Oh. Good block, good block. Oh, jeez. Poor plant.
Are my defenses gone?
You'll pay for that!
I was totally not prepared for that. Okay, this is probably a game over. Oh, double non-SQ. Pretty much screwed me.
Who has fallen?
Okay. Oh, we go again. So sure having 2 axe users would make this a non-issue. At the sink. Boy just floats down here.
Try as you might, the result will be the same.
So we gotta spark our abilities again here.
Don't think this'll be like last time.
Yeah, we got drag down, so just need reverse delta. Is that a rescue? Run, man. Yeah, we still have decent LP.
You haven't learned a thing!
True. Let's block that. 10k. You're sparking. Basically have to get here, or else I'll start taking real LP damage I can't fully recover. Go again.
Try as you might, the result will be the same.
Okay, same deal. We want to spark, drag down, and reverse delta. Drag down should be easy enough. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to spark drag down of all things.
Don't think this'll be like last time.
Not getting on the Agitar fight's strange. Since it's the easiest one to spark of the... Okay. So we still need drag down. Guess we can start doing reverse delta. Hopefully Platt recovered from that status. Try to spark again. And yeah. Do it live. It's not as vital to get dragged down, but it's definitely good to have.
Anubito are destined
All right.
to rule the world. I can still see my throne.
Still see his throne, though. It's chaos time. Yeah, we're back to phase 1, which has 20k that we got to burn through. We're back to our phase 1 through 3 formation of Mussolini and his merry band of tanks. This freaking guy.
Controlled by something like you? You gotta be kidding me!
Dagger boss, have you lost all of the Anubito's pride? 'Tis a repulsive sight.
Queuing up those slams just to try and get dragged down. It's 4. At a certain point, we'll just have to go without.
Escada, father, and mother, they were all killed to gain this power?
Okay,
What's
so
going
far
on?
decent.
What is this?
I like that Armic has just no clue what any of this is. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna have to try and spark it live. Phase 4.
We too are plagued by this chaos present within ourselves.
Could be near the end of phase 2. Or phase 1, rather. Nice. Good for Laura to take the tank now. She's in less danger. Nice 5. Be nice if someone blocked one day. Our tanks are doing a really good job. Don't die out there. Okay, phase 3. Nice. Dodge, dodge.
Who has fallen?
God, if you can't rescue a little boy.
be delighted to fight on.
There you go. Ah, okay. Lock in. Phase 4. Oh. Just can't have multiple people die on the field again. That's what really screwed me last time. We're doing okay. Armic's dead, but that's fine. Play this role.
Beasts of all shapes and sizes walk the earth. Yet this one is different.
I'm always ready for a fight.
Yeah, you are. Yes. Not the best place to be right now, Ranma. That's okay. Just perched on my TV stand in front of the TV. Ranma! Ranma!
I'm going to hit
Yeah,
you
we
with
doing-
everything I've got.
We can't let Laura die again. Not this saga. Not this saga 2026. Okay, we're doing LP damage. It's actually a good time to have only 2 people on the field. It's doing a lot of AoE attacks. Now the rarely seen all reverse delta formation. But no, that might still be a bad idea. As funny as it would be. Here to kill this thing. Yes! Fuck. Overkill with only 2 people on the field isn't bad. It also consumes 5 actions, so that'll be all he does this turn. It's really bad when you see reverse delta, or not reverse delta, overkill as part of a huge combo while you have 3 people on the field. Back in, buddy. Die! Die, Chaos! Follow me. Gotta be getting there. Yes! 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 Die! Oh. Okay, so that was Unlimited SaGa. It's a very easy run. No drama to it. So the reason why I was a bit stressed about that fight is back in SaGa 2018, inaugural SaGa marathon. Was it even the inaugural? It was the first one we did Unlimited. It was a train wreck. I ran Laura. I was not prepared, and
Hey,
Chaos Ruler
Henri.
broke me.
Looks like you've gotten a bit taller.
And since then, I ran Judy in marathons, but this is the first time running
You may
Laura
be
in a
right.
marathon
I
again.
had not even realized it.
Was having flashbacks the first
You're a
wipe,
fine young man.
but
You will
this
be
time
the
was
one to
different. We
rebuild
were
the sky.
prepared. We are Unlimited SaGa scholars now. I'm surprised the 2-axe route managed
Escada
to
belongs to everyone.
get owned by Chaos Ruler that
Together,
bad. It
we
was
will
that
bring
whole
back
double
its
rescue.
former glory.
Whenever you have 2 people die on the field,
It'll
it's
be
really
fine.
bad. Then when you have to
I
do
know
a
you
double
can do
rescue
it.
and both rescues fail, it's pretty
And you
much
know you're not alone.
all over. I was also
But we need
missing
your help
too many
too, Laura.
reverse
Please,
deltas the first time.
Stay.
Second time around went a lot better. I had to lock in a
No,
little bit,
Henri.
so the commentary
And
was a
don't you
bit
worry
lighter.
about me.
So hopefully
I'm
I
not alone
explained
either.
everything well enough the first time. I just couldn't have Laura get Mercy killed again. Laura deserves better. But we did it.
Your Highness, we
We
cannot
have
have
exorcised the demon,
Let me be.
Laura, in a marathon.
Laura cannot see me.
I was so confident with the 2-axe route too. I was like, there's no way I can die to Chaos. In the practice, I was just destroying him. But yeah, that's it for the scenario. Laura goes back to the Pablo's grave. And she reopens the elementary school. I don't think Laura would be a very good teacher. She was a pirate her whole life. I'm sure. In terms of scholastics, prepared for. But gosh dang it, she's reopening that elementary school. Unfortunately, I don't have all scenarios cleared, so we don't get the credit roll. But considering we're roughly
All
30
right,
minutes, I
gather
accidentally
round.
added 6
Let's
minutes
learn
to
how to
my
read and
timer,
write.
so we're not as overestimate.
See?
We're just
There you go. That's it. Now you
25
got
minutes overestimate instead of 32. So way better. But we finished. That's all that matters. That is... So I'm gonna switch over to the ending layout, then we're gonna get our good pal and organizer Bick on the line. Gotta set up score a little bit. Gotta Discord. Yeah. Can I hear you, Bick?
Hello, hello.
Oh, you're loud.
Sorry.
I'll just turn you down on my. Okay, there you go. So yeah, that was exciting run. Would you agree?
Dude.
Were you having flashbacks?
Dude, I
as
was
well?
just about to say I was having flashbacks. I was like, no,
Oh, I
no.
was like, no, we can't do this again.
There's no way, dude.
I was willing to go a third time, but after a third time, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that I didn't have reverse delta sparked on Moozle. I had to respark it each time. But we did it. Cleared it.
Yeah.
It was and I think every run succeeded this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them were just
Very good for a Saga
most
marathon.
of them were all really smooth. I mean, Romancing Saga
Yeah.
2 was like just like consistently a bit slow. Wasn't like ever like bad or anything. So
Seems like the final boss, you just gotta get a bit lucky.
yeah.
So I was the most trained up of the run, which is a classic for Unlimited
Yeah,
Saga.
that's a tough one, man. And like commentating your own on a boss like that's like
Yeah.
horrible.
I kind of had to stop commenting the second time. It's like, okay, priority, finish this, then hopefully the first time around explain things. Okay. But yeah, so thank you for organizing these. Always fun to do. Stressful, but fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And hope you enjoy putting these together.
Yeah, so I just have some last words. I don't want to keep you guys up too much longer. But it's crazy to think about how the first event was SaGa 2016. So it's been 10 years of these, although this is only the fifth one. We took a bit of a gap. But we came back this year. So if you guys don't remember 10 years ago, I was just speedrunning Saga games. You know, I've speedrun Saga Frontier 1, 2, and Saga 3. And I don't know, Saga 2016 was just like the meme you said in anyone's chat. He was speedrunning the game, but it kind of morphed from a joke to like, actually, I could maybe do a marathon. And I had never done a marathon before. I'd actually just rewatched some of the ending of the first one, and it was so funny because I'm hearing myself talk, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'll do another one of these. This one was kind of bad.
Yeah, I can't remember 2016 too well, but I assume it was pretty awful.
I mean, most like the runs were actually pretty good. It was just like there were so many
Oh.
like technical issues and stuff like that.
Okay.
Romancing Saga 3 didn't finish, but everything else did.
Not bad.
And then yeah, dude. So the last time we ran this was 2020, and then I just kind of personally like fell off. Just kind of didn't really have the motivation, and seemingly neither did anyone else, I guess. But I started running Saga Frontier 2 last summer, and I don't know. It was started off as kind of a joke again, but then it was like, dude, maybe I am ready to run another one. And yeah, here we are at the end of it. So it's been a blast to be back, man. Everyone did a really, really, really great job. Had a lot of fun. Cool to see a bunch of runs I hadn't seen either in a really long time or like ever. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. It's been a long, long, long day, but it's been a fulfilling one. So I want to thank Puexel and RPG Limit Break in general for allowing us to use their channel as per usual. Thank you so much for letting me do that and coordinating with me. I know I'm the lead organizer or whatever, and yes, that there's certain parts to that job for sure that only I'm responsible for, but there's definitely people like Sid, Chaos, and Anatolu who did long restreaming shifts. So thank you to them. Thank you to all my runners and commentators for being interested and being able to fill out an 18-hour day or whatever it was. And thank you to everyone watching and just enjoying the Saga madness. It's been a good old time. I don't want to make any speed promises here, but it's been good. So if interest stays high, then maybe you'll see us back in another year. We'll see. So happy Saga 2026, everyone. It's been a really, really great time. Thank you so much for staying up and spending a part of your day or all of your day. With that being said, we'll be cutting stream here shortly. You all have a great night, and VODs will pop up, I'm sure, within a handful of days or so. Good night, y'all. SaGa 2026.
Good night. Heck yeah.